Good day everyone, I am Bellen of BSED Social Studies 1C Day, and I am here for the continuation of our report, The Race and Ethnicity. So before I will continue with our report, I will first read the objectives with our discussion today. So the objectives are to discuss the stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination, to distinguish their rules in race and ethnicity, and to determine the connection of stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination in today's situations. So now I'll first discuss the stereotypes. So stereotypes are oversimplified generalizations about groups of people. Stereotypes can be based on race, ethnicity, age, gender, sexual orientation, or almost any characteristic of a group of people. Stereotypes often lead into outcomes, the positive and the negative outcome. So the positive outcome usually about one's own group, such as women, suggests or being identified to be less likely to complain about physical pain. So it is positive because when a woman being praised that they are more likely to complain about physical pain, it gives power and confidence to them that they can do everything. Well, the negative outcome, often a dominant is, for example, is a dominant racial group member suggests that the subordinate means a lower rank or position racial group are stupid or lazy. So it is negative, based on my understanding, is negative siyang pagka-stereotype. It is because they are more likely discriminating or just like murag low lang gid kaayo ang ilahang pagtan-aw sa ilahang kauban, which has a negative impact to the people, and they are more like thinking that this group of people, this group of racial group are just relying on the higher rank because they are just being stupid and lazy. So the stereotype is a generalization that does not take individual differences into account. So when stereotyping, it does not see an individual differences. It does not see you're different from the other people, but it can see it is pointing the general difference of the group that you are in to the other group. So, and since new stereotypes are rarely created, there are subordinate groups that are being recycled that have assimilated into society and are reused to describe newly subordinate groups. So, for example, for that is characterizing the Irish and Eastern European immigrants as black people, which is used earlier in American history. So, and I have searched that mostly of the stereotypes is inaccurate, sometimes inaccurate, but sometimes it is accurate too, because I guess not all Irish and Eastern European are black people. So it can be accurate and it can be inaccurate. So now let's proceed to prejudice and racism. So first I will discuss the prejudice. So prejudice refers to the beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and attitudes that someone holds about a group. So it is more like a judgment, a observation that a person or another group of people to the other group. So prejudice is not based on experience. Instead, it is a prejudgment originating outside experience. So it is more like observation into judgment that they gave to someone. So a 1970 documentary called Eye of the Storm illustrates how prejudice develops by showing how defining one category of people as superior, the children with blue eyes, results in prejudice against people who are not part of the favored category. So another example of another definition of prejudice I have here is prejudice is giving harm or making a person who judged by other people as low, hurt their feelings, or affect their state of emotional well-being. So, in this documentary, it shows that the people who think that they are superior, which is the people with, which is the children with blue eyes, results in prejudice. So it means they hurt the feelings of the people who are not part of the favored category, or in other kanang side, the children with blue eyes or the people with blue eyes often gives often hold grudges or often holds negative emotions toward the people who are not in favored, who are not part in the favored group. So, for example of that, the other white people prejudice the black people because they believe that black people is like this, like that. So, it means they holding feelings, or they holding a belief and attitude towards the group, and same as the black people holding an emotion that they feel towards the white people. So, next is the racism. So, racism is a stronger type of prejudice used to justify the belief that one racial category is somehow superior or inferior to others. So it is also a set of practices used by a racial majority to disadvantage a racial minority. So we all know that racism is really visible in our times right now. Sa iyang pagka-visible kay makita na lang nato nga na ay mga kanang gipang priso nga walay sala, but just being judged by their beliefs, by their religion, by their colors, and all, na uban nga gipang patay because of those kind of kanang characteristics they have or difference they have by the other group. So, there are two types of racism, the institutional racism and the colorism. So, we will know sa kani nga types kung asa to nga mga issue nga itong nakita sa TV, sa itong nabasa sa Facebook and other social media accounts nato, kung asa sila nabilong nga type of racism. So, the first type of racism is the institutional racism. So, a type of racism refers to how racism is embedded in the fabric of society. For example, the disproportionate number of black men arrested, charged, and convicted of crimes may reflect racial profiling, a form of institutional racism. So, it is more like the history that gives judgment to the black people. So, for example, in the history, a lot of black people were being arrested because of doing crimes. So, in karon sa present nga times, ibutang na lang sa example ning George Floyd. We all know his story, katong a black man who was being killed by the white police officers sa America. So, it was really devastating kay the man, George Floyd, did not do anything harmful or wrong, but he was being killed because he was being judged by his color. Kay tungod ang mga black men sa una is kanang more aggressive. The black people were believe that they are more aggressive and often the one who commit crime. So that's one of the example institutional racism. And next is the colorism, the second type of racism. So colorism is another kind of prejudice in which someone believes one type of skin tone is superior or inferior to another within a social group. So studies suggest that darker skinned African Americans experience more discrimination than the lighter-skinned African Americans. And it is based on the Hearing Kit and Horton 2004 and the other mga studies. So, sa kaning example aning racism, kaning colorism is when a group of, let's say, a business owners nga mong maghimo og kana ganing mag-need og sign, I mean, mangita og kanang waiters, they often said na kanang only white only, no black people, or those restaurants nga dili sila mo dawat og black people nga mga customers, kay para nila is ang kanailang restaurant is only for those kanang white people. And karon is niusa na karon sa American na kanang Asian hate, which is they couldn't accept the Asian because not just because of their colors, but kanang tungod sa beliefs pud nila nga kanang ang Asian is making or kanang threat sa ilahang society nana. So but the colorism is kana jud mostly ang kanang uso karon or known kaayo is kanang white and black nga kanang racism, like mas superior for them is mas superior ang white people compare sa black people because other believe that black people are just slaves, or other black people are kanang mga dili good nga mga tao, like because of their past ana. So now I will discuss the discrimination. So discrimination consists of actions against group of people. Discrimination can be based on age, religion, health, and other indicators. Race-based laws against discrimination strive to address this set of social problems. So, a lot of people experience discrimination nowadays. Even people who choose to have or who choose their own gender or their own beliefs. So, we all knew na kanang even us ourselves also experience discrimination because kanang tungod sa ato ang mga gituhuan or tungod sa ato ang physical appearance. So it is indeed a social problem since it never ends and need more prior education or acknowledgement to settle and be accepted. So discrimination is more like, for me, it consists of stereotype, prejudice, and racism. Kay it's more like they couldn't accept the differences of each one of us. Mo nang i-discriminate ang usa ka tawo. So discrimination based on race or ethnicity can take many forms. Here it is. So from unfair housing practices to biased hiring systems. So another example of the racism, example atong racism nga akong isulti ganiha kaning bias hiring system, di ba? It's the example of superiority of white people over black people, or hiring only white people than the black people, is a form of discrimination because why couldn't black people work or be hired? Why they have this bias or unequal hiring systems if kita man tanan is nagneed og work, diba? So, and unfair housing practices, like kanang ibutahan ta lang na you couldn't eat this because you're like that, or you couldn't have this kay inana imuhang naong, inana imuhang dagway. So it's a form of discrimination. Or another thing is ari lang katulog sa sala kay kanang kuan man ka, adapted ra man ka ana. So it's a form of discrimination. So discrimination is really unhealthy and it's really toxic in our society, and it must be end because it's not only making someone's mental, emotional health intake, but it can also like makaguba og kaugmaon sa usa ka tawo. So, social scientist Emil Durkheim calls racism a social fact, meaning that it does not require the action of individuals to continue. So, sakto pod, like the Emil Durkheim has a point. Kay for me masad good nga the words, like the words that the person is mugawa silang baba is some naiuban nga tinuod, like let's just say uy kanang tambok na kay ka more than him or more than her. So, or like, why you being like that, or why are you gay if it's kanang against the Bible. Ana naibang part nga tinuod, but then they choose, it's their life. So why kanang manghilabot sa ubang life sa tao? So but Emil Durkheim says here na it does not require the action of individuals to continue, kay ang society man gud mismo has a kanang discrimination system na already, kay because of these differences we have. It's just that a lot of people are being curious and being kana ganing manghilabtanon kaayo. So mo to. The reason for this are complex and relate to the educational, criminal, economic, and political system that exists in our society. So, maupod na. So, again, like what I said ganiha na, the society already has this discrimination system because of the differences we have and the past or the history we have. So, they are what we call racial steering. Real estate agents direct prospective homeowners towards or away from specific neighborhoods based on their race. So ang racial steering is more like a real estate agent kay mamili gani og tawo nga mupalit sa kanang ilahang balay nga ibaligya, like that. So like the definition itself is understandable naman, no? Like real estate agents direct prospective homeowners towards or away from specific neighborhoods based on their race, or kanang mga real estate owners or real estate agents nga ilain mo og kanang places based on your race, based on your kanang beliefs, or based on your ethnicity. Inana na ang racial steering. So racist attitudes and beliefs are often more insidious and harder to pin down than specific racist practices. It is indeed true, kay the racist attitudes and beliefs is on the people. Like it is on the people. So sila mismo ang maka-control ra ana. And the racist practices can be teach man, or can be kanang educate man sa katong ibutang ta lang sa mga bata nga nagkat-on from their parents nga kanang dili na siya maayo, but the attitude and the belief is sa tao na. So dili dali makuha or mawagtang sa usa ka tawo. So it might quite like uncomfortable sa uban nga tao na to experience quite, like it's really uncomfortable sa uban nga tao, no, na maka-experience aning discrimination, kay it really can affect someone's life. But then according to Emil Durkheim, a social scientist, na a discrimination system is already in the society. Kanang the society itself already has this system nga maka-determine nga we are like this and we are like that, maka-pinpoint sa tong differences. But then it is on the people it is on the attitude of the people nga unsaon nila pagdala or unsaon nila pag keep or observe or judge ang ilahang mga nakita nga differences sa society nga na-involve sila. So there are 4 examples of how prejudice and discrimination works in our society. So first is unprejudiced non-discriminators are open-minded, tolerant, and accepting individuals. So more likely they are these people who has no problems when identifying or accepting the uniqueness of everyone. So second is unprejudiced discriminators might be those who unthinkingly practice sexism in their workplace by not considering females for a certain position that have traditionally been held by men. So for example, I am married before, so I got divorced. Then nagwork ko sa company nga na ay mga unprejudiced but discriminators nga people. Then kanang I am indeed kanang worthy sa kaning usa ka position, but then because they are unprejudiced but discriminators, they couldn't and they are practicing this kanang sexism, so they couldn't kanang agree na I am worthy for that kind of position at all. Kay kanang divorce ko nga ang divorce ko nga woman. So mao to ang example ana nga unprejudiced and discriminator. So the third one is prejudiced non-discriminators are those who hold racist beliefs but do not act on them, such as a racist store owner who serves minority customers. So for example of these are katong kanang mo-serve lang like mga restaurant owners nga mo-serve lang sa kani nga certain group of people, but not this group of people, like naa sila pilion. So the fourth one and the last one is the prejudiced discriminators. So both prejudice and discriminators ang usa ka tawo. So it include those who actively make disparaging remarks about others or who perpetrate hate crimes. So kanang they're both prejudice and discriminators. They're both making or kanang makapasakit sa ubang tao, and also they're discriminating other people. So institutional discrimination occurs when a societal system has developed with embedded disenfranchisement of a group. So such as, for example, the U.S. military historical non-acceptance of minority sexualities, katong norm nga do not ask, do not tell policy, and can reflect ang atong kani nga example, kani nga kanang definition. And institutional discrimination can also include the promotion of a group status. So murag maapektuhan ang usa ka promotion sa usa ka group of people tungod sa pag-discriminate sa ilahang past or sa ilahang kanang way of doing or way of believing. While most white people are willing to admit that non-white people live with a set of disadvantages due to the color of their skin, very few are willing to acknowledge the benefits they receive. So racism, prejudice, and discrimination, and even the stereotypes already affect the negative part of stereotyping. So already kanang affecting life of people manggod, because kanang especially nga makakause yag inequality to others, to certain group of people. So kani nga part is daghan ganahan mo daghan ni admit nga kanang daghan jud og disadvantages kung lahi kag color of skin, because they feel that white people are superior. So, but then dili sila mo admit nga mas daghan sila og benefit nga nakuha. Mas daghang benefit ang nakuha nga white people. But they admit nga daghan og mga kanang mga bad experience nga nabuhat or kanang na-receive ang other kanang people with a different color of their skin. So, mo to. But then dili sila ka admit nga mas daghan sila or dili jud equal ang benefit nga nakuha sa both. So I will just introduce the theories of race and ethnicity because it will be discussed by Erica Hinojales later on. So there are theories of race and ethnicity, and it is three major perspectives. So the functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic interactionism. So it will be discussed priorly by Miss Erica Hinojales. So before I will end this discussion, I will first read my ending quotes by Oprah Winfrey. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. The ability to triumph begins with you, always. And by Audre Lorde, it is not our differences that divided us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. So I guess that would be all with my report. Thank you.